February 21st, 1984 was the moment it came to an end. Parents from 16 racialized and language minoritized communities quit. They had been appointed to a committee in the Toronto Board of Education to give advice on new programs teaching heritage languages. Many of these parents had worked for years to make Toronto schools more welcoming of racial and linguistic diversity. Some meaningful change was underway.
I think we have gone a long, long way to help these students. And I really take pride in what our board has been doing for the New Canadian students. I think we can do a lot more, but I think we have been doing a lot too.
If the board is going to become committed to any position of multiculturalism, then the Ord and Ogden program should definitely be at greater pains to the Board of Education.
The Ord and Ogden program Dan Leckie referred to was a bilingual, bicultural program teaching Cantonese. By the late 1970s, parent and community pressure on the board was growing to expand heritage language programs in Toronto schools.
How would you feel if a public school system ever came around to offering Portuguese during the day? On a basis that the kids would be withdrawn out of the class for some part of the day just to learn not only the Portuguese language, but very importantly, the culture. How would you feel about that?
By 1983, 1 year before the parents' resignation, the Toronto Board of Education offered daytime heritage language classes at several elementary schools. Daytime classes had become an important demand for some parents and activists. That year, the board approved daytime heritage language classes in 12 schools and introduced a plan to increase that number over the next few years. This decision was meant to be a moment of triumph for community advocates after years of efforts to integrate heritage language education into the school day. But many people in Toronto were opposed and wanted schools to remain as they had been. The teachers' union became one of the most vocal opponents to the plan. Teachers argued they were not properly consulted. They argued they would have to work longer hours for no increase in pay. Their union led a boycott to protest the plan. The union argued it wasn't boycotting heritage language education in general, just daytime classes. But parents weren't so sure. On February 14th, 1984, the Coalition for Language Rights in Ontario held a press conference. They called on the Toronto Teachers Federation to end their boycott of heritage language programs and denounced the union boycott as motivated by racism. Messages were clear, but not really heard. In an act of solidarity and protest, parents from 16 racialized and language minoritized communities resigned from the board's advisory committee on heritage language education. The boycott did come to an end in May of that year, but so too did the board's commitment to expanding daytime heritage language classes. Some 40 years later, the experience of multilingual students being silenced is so common and has gone on for so long that it might seem this is the only way schools could possibly exist. English is still the only language of instruction allowed in most Ontario schools. French is still required for 6 years, while opportunities to learn other languages are still minimal and marginal to the regular school day. In the 1970s and 1980s, a diverse group of people came together to ask, is another school possible? They didn't achieve the change they hoped for. However, that doesn't mean we can't make change today. Toronto is a much larger city and much more multilingual now than it was in the 1970s and 1980s. So, how can a new multilingual, multiracial group of parents, students, community members, and teachers work together in the here and now to create schools where all languages can speak up and everyone can speak out loud.